the intangibles perspective of this fight now.
This is where it can get a little interesting.
And by the way, guys, just because we picked Islam for striking and grappling does not necessarily mean that we're going to predict him to win this fight. So stick around till the end of the video. We promise we will give our predictions on this fight before the video wraps.
Yep.
So intangibles, there's a lot of pressure on Islam. A lot of people are talking about him being the GOAT of this sport.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are saying that he's getting close to the point where he's better than a John Jones or a George St. Pierre. Now, a Demetrius Johnson. Will the GOAT debate causes more drama than it leaves more questions than it answers, and every's got a different opinion.
Right.
And you know what they say about opinions. I won't say it on this channel.
Yeah.
But
everybody's got one. Yeah.
You know, and but suffice it to say, Islam Makhachev is making his way towards the discussion of being the greatest mixed martial arts fighter of all time.
Without a doubt.
So he has a lot of pressure, you know, to win this fight. Ian Garry's a pretty sizable underdog, 2.5 to 1 under. I think Islam's a 3.5 to 1 favorite. Not many people are giving Ian a whole lot of chance here. It's just kind of the body type and the point fighting style if you're thinking Ian's going to win. So, you know, I feel like Ian does have less pressure coming into this fight.
Yeah.
I do believe that Ian doesn't get affected by the noise. I think that he embraces he realizes that at this point in time, with everything that's been done, with everything that he said, he's just not going to be loved by a wide segment of the mixed martial arts crowd. And I think he's actually okay with that.
And he doubled down and did a PETA commercial, which, you know, to each their own. I'm not going to knock the guy for making money and getting a sponsorship from PETA, but the industry that we're in and the fan base that we have here are just having a field day.
Just look at the comments on that sponsorship video.
Exactly.
But, you know, so he's got that going for him. I think that he really is okay with where he is in the industry.
Yeah.
And he's a damn good fighter. Let's call it spades. But he's fighting for a title for a reason. But I just keep coming back to what is Ian's method of victory and what are the intangibles? The intangible for me is the southpaw stance.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult thing to overcome when, you know, you're not the southpaw, fighting a southpaw who knows how to use that stance really well to both strike and grapple, which Islam does. There's the fact that Ian just doesn't have that one punch starching power. And he's probably going to have to leave his kicks at home because when you start kicking high on Islam Makhachev, the kick is going to be caught and you're going to be taken down. And then it's also this other element of Islam Makhachev's specific camp. Like, he's got the whole camp built around him. He said that, you know, him and Habib, I think it's New Jersey, the gym they like over there. I forget the name of the gym, but maybe it's the Almeida's gym. But they've got Javier Mendez in there. He's been there for a while. Javier is a genius when it comes to striking.
Right.
Habib, obviously, we know what he does when he does better than anybody. We've got sparring partners that are specific to the camp. And
plus Usman and Umar too.
And what's the guy's name that fought our friend Colton?
Amaru
Nurmagomedov. Yeah. So you want an opponent that can kick like hell? Go watch Amaru Nurmagomedov versus Colton England on PFL. Unfortunately for our friend, that didn't go so well.
But that's a perfect body type to get ready for Ian Garry. He's
Ian with power, right? Like he's the same stature with ridiculous power. And so I think that when you and Ian is saying, okay, I've got Charles Oliveira in my camp. Charles is a great fighter. I loved it. You won't find a bigger fan of Du Bronx than me, but Charles is not the fighter to train against if you're training for a Makhachev fight.
Right.
Completely different type of fighter.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I feel like the camp is more catered and custom to Ian Garry, to like Islam having the proper camp for Ian Garry, than vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, Ian lives in Brazil. He trains in Brazil. There's not a lot of wrestling in Brazil. There's great jiu-jitsu fighters, and I don't know who he's flown in from Dagestan or Chechnya or any of the other Caucasus countries or whatever. Maybe he's got great people in there that are just relentlessly taking him down every day.
But you know, that part of the world, they might not vibe too much with Ian Garry, so he may be short on teammates from that part of the world.
That's possible. But, you know, I think he's probably found a couple of really high-level wrestlers.
For sure.
So I doubt that he's not getting good wrestling rounds in. But he also said in an interview that, you know, this is his life. He doesn't believe in a training camp. He believes that, you know, he's got to be happy and live his life and have a work-life balance. And all that sounds beautiful. But when you're fighting Islam Makhachev, there ain't no work-life balance. He's saying he trains once a day for an hour or so, and he does it 5 days a week. That's the warm-up for Habib's team.
Straight up.
That is the warm-up. That might be not even as much as the warm-up for Habib's team. So if you're if he's serious, if he's really training once a day, 5 days a week, he's got no chance in this fight.
Right.
Islam's going to eat him alive. Islam has been doing what he does, which is doing hard grappling rounds, hard jiu-jitsu, like submission type grappling on the ground, wrestling from the stand-up position, striking, clinch work, you name it. And on top of that, specific training and sparring for Ian.
Yeah.
If I don't know if he's serious at this point. I don't know, half the stuff that he says these days, whether he's just kidding, trolling, or dead serious. But, I'll take him at his word. I think that the work put in and the specific game plan, the strategy, who's in the corner.
Right.
Man, that all makes a difference. Heavily leans towards Islam Makhachev for me. So I'm giving intangible advantage to Islam, which means I'm giving him striking, grappling, and intangibles. And before I hand it back to you, I've kind of let the cat out of the bag. Let me go ahead and make my prediction. This is underdog summer, but Labor Day's coming early this year. Islam Makhachev is going to run away with this fight. Yeah. I think that he's going to take Ian down at will, and I actually like him to get a finish. I think he's going to submit Ian in the 3rd or the 4th round.
I like that. I think that's a good call. Islam Makhachev made the saying, I eaty, I sleepy, I trainy famous.
Yeah.
And if you're training once a day, then that just isn't the lifestyle you're living. But these guys from Dagestan, they literally wake up, they eat something, they go train, they take a nap, they go back and train, and then they may even squeeze in a 3rd workout of the day. And don't forget that the film study and all the talking about fighting that they must do in between there. Like, they don't cloud their mind up with anything other than fighting. They're fighting for UFC world titles. Their record since Khabib has taken over the team is like 110-2 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And those 2 losses are against like Marab and I don't even know who the other one is. But needless to say,
somebody probably really good.
Those guys are laser focused on MMA. And if Ian Machado Garry wants this work-life balance, all the power to him. I'm not going to knock a guy for wanting to keep his mental faculties and stay balanced through life, but that is not what got Team Khabib and the Dagestani fighters where they are as the most dominant camp in the entire sport.
You tired? Go back to Dagestan. Go back to your mommy.
Yeah. Like, what about that?
He literally said that. Like, who's complaining in here? Like,
yes, Khabib's got him holding like planks. God only knows for how long. Could have been 10 minutes, and somebody just lets out an ah, and Khabib just turns his eyes.
Who said ah?
Who said ah? And then with you or without you, we're still going to make champions. So if you're going to quit, then go do your thing. But Islam Makhachev doesn't operate with the same sort of schedule that Ian has. And so my intangible is Ian Garry is considered a decision merchant, right? Islam Makhachev used to be. And then he got on a real good tear of finishing all of his opponents. Now, he didn't finish Jack Della Maddalena, but it was a one-sided ass whooping to the highest level. And he was able to display every bit of mixed martial arts that a fan would want to see. So my opinion is that any time that we have 2 guys that obviously have ways to win the fight and finish the fight, Islam has more. He can finish it on the feet. We've seen him knock out great fighters. He obviously can finish with submissions, but if it does have to go to decision, I always lean towards the grappler to outpoint the striker, because it's just really difficult to stay perfect for 25 minutes when you've got a guy who knows how to take the fight to the ground as good as Islam Makhachev. And Islam also is really good at eating time off the clock. So when you see him in there and he's able to strike with a guy at a competent level. I mean, Jack Della Maddalena was a former champion.
He's still a very good striker.
Right. I mean, he obviously, Carlos Prates beat him. He's having a tough go right now. But Jack Della Maddalena was the world champion for a reason, and he looked like he didn't belong in there with Islam. Islam may not have a finish yet at 170, but I do predict whenever he fights Ian Garry, he gets his first finish as a welterweight. I'm also leaning towards 3rd or 4th round. I think Ian Garry might actually pull away a little bit and win round 1 or 2. That's why I'm keep an eye on Kalshi, because I always like to pay attention to underdogs who are good starters. And while Ian Garry, there's plenty of things to make fun of about him, he's good at fighting. He knows the game. He understands how to stay disciplined behind his long rangey strikes. And I could see him trying to at least keep it competitive in the first couple rounds and stay far away from any takedown attempts from Islam. And that could sway the lines a little bit. So I'll keep an eye on that. But you know that my prediction is going in favor of Islam. I see him getting actually, I was leaning towards submission, but I think that Ian Garry's actually pretty good with his submission defense, and I think he'll be able to scramble a little bit from the bottom. It'll be a little bit harder for him to scramble, given that he's 6'3". You know, everybody that grapples has advantages and disadvantages. If you get these stocky boulder type guys that are, you know, they don't have an arm that you can arm bar, but maybe they can't throw up a triangle on you, and then vice versa with like the tall, lanky guys. Sure, they're good with their darces, they're good with syncing up submissions from weird angles, but they're also also their limbs being longer makes it harder for them to, weave in and out of their opponent's top position. So I think he's going to have a hard time getting out from under, but I do think he'll have to scramble a little bit. And that's why I think Islam's actually going to try to put a statement on this and win via TKO. I'm going to go round 4 TKO for Islam Makhachev.
No, so when you say TKO, are you saying from the ground and pound position, or you think he's going to knock him out on the feet?
Yeah, I think from the ground and pound position. I think once he figures out how to take Ian down once, he's going to rinse and repeat and do that over and over again. Maybe the only thing that's going to get Ian Garry back up to his feet is the ref stopping it in between rounds. But of course, if he can do it once, he's going to do it time and time again. And it's just going to be a matter of damage accumulated from Ian Garry from the bottom position. He's going to have no answers. It's going to kill his confidence. And I see Islam Makhachev getting about a 4th round TKO from ground and pound.